This is gonna be good. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Justin Davis. Today I have a new RC airplane here to review, and what's cool about it? Well, it is around $100 and you guys know that I like cheap stuff on the channel, so we're gonna get right into this review. This is the Petrosaur. Am I pronouncing that right? Hopefully so. It is a 1400 millimeter wingspan, which is translatable to 55 inches. It is EPO foam. It comes with 9-gram servos and a motor on here that is a 2212 1200 to 1600 kV motor. So it's gonna give us a good flight time. This is one of those kits that you're gonna buy. It comes unassembled. You have to put it together. You do have to have some CA glue and some epoxy if you want to make it a little more durable. It comes with the motor mount and everything you need to get started to build maybe your first RC airplane. This would be an absolute awesome trainer for someone to get. And what's cool about it is that you can stick the world's smallest little tiny stabilized 1080p camera on there if you want to. This is the Insta360 Go. You can turn it like this and record, or you can turn it like this. You can get little camera mounts made for it and mount it right up here on the wing. You can even pop a hole in the very top of the wing and have it sitting up there just like this. One double click has this getting you 1080p video for 5 minutes at a time. It also has an FPV mode, which is super cool. But today it's not all about the Insta360 Go, it's more about the Petrosaur. And the Petrosaur, it's named after a flying dinosaur. So yeah, it has to be pretty badass, right? It actually is. And I'm proud to say that I have one of these things here that cost me a tiny amount of money, but has this much fun. So we're gonna take this out to the field now. I'm gonna show you how it flies. We're gonna show you some GoPro footage of it flying around and me doing some circuits. And then we're also gonna show you some onboard footage with my Insta360 Go. And we'll get this review underway because I know the internet's been waiting for this review. Someone over at RC Group said they were gonna post theirs, but COVID is holding everybody back. So here we go. Here is my review, my flying review. After that, I'll give you my final opinion as always, guys. Here we go. Okay, so after a couple hours assembly time and kind of taking my time setting up this plane, I wanted to make sure all the surfaces were correct, and I put about 20% expo on my ailerons and the elevator just to be safe, guys. You don't really need any more than that, especially if you're using a Spectrum radio. It's pretty smooth. I didn't have a lot of travel when I set up this plane initially, and it's quite smooth. Now, what's nice about the plane too is that for beginners, it has a really nice flight characteristic that is very mellow. I also tried some rolls with it and I did some loops, but honestly this plane is not really an aerobatic plane. It's more of a cruiser. If you wanted to put an FPV camera on this plane, it would be absolutely super easy to do that and enjoy some nice smooth flying like you see here. And this is the Insta360 Go footage that you see. I'm also going to show you some flybys with my GoPro on my head so you guys can see what the plane looks like in the air. Really nice straight lines and plenty of power back off the runway with a 3S 2200. They say you can fly this on 2S as well, but honestly I think the 3S 2200 is about the perfect weight for it. I put my battery fairly far forward in the nose just to make sure that it was not tail heavy. You don't want a tail heavy RC airplane. You'll have a lot of problems. But my overall impression of this was a fun plane to fly. It was one of those planes that I wish I had more batteries for because I could do a lot with it, and it was just fun to fly line of sight, and it felt like it didn't have a lot of stall characteristics. A lot of beginner planes sometimes will have some wingtip stall characteristics, and that can make it kind of dangerous for fast turns for the beginner and crashing too easily. And what you're looking for a beginner RC airplane is something that can handle some stick banging, because A lot of beginners do a lot of what I call stick banging, and that's big stick maneuvers, and that results in some crashes. So go easy on your sticks, heavier on the throttle on takeoff. This plane can handle plenty of throttle with your 8-inch prop and your 2212 motor. It has a nice, kind of a loud sounding motor when you do take off. It's kind of cool sounding, but great for touch and goes. I had a lot of fun just bringing this plane back up to a little bit of height, cutting the motor back, and just using it like a sailplane. And I think on a day where there was a little bit of wind, I mean, you could probably even fly this plane up to about a 20-mile-an-hour wind if you're an experienced RC plane pilot. And you really get it up there a couple hundred feet, several hundred feet, and just hit some thermals, because this plane is really, really lightweight, even with the 3S2200 in it. But I love the duality that the plane has. It has a really nice sort of trainer feel to it, but also an experienced glider type of feel. And this plane's not super expensive, so I'm not worried about having a crash or needing an extra part for it. You can get the whole kit, again, reasonably cheap, and have extras for the whole plane for around $60. Now I'm coming back in and around, and if I find parts for the plane, I'll list them down below as well. Maybe you can get an extra wing, and we can always get 9-gram servos, because those are pretty much the most common servo in the hobby. 9-gram servo is in a lot of different planes, but great touch and goes, tons of control. Really smooth flying plane. One of the smoothest that I've flown this week. So I feel like for the price, the experience, the fun factor is really high. And it seems to turn quite sharp. I also did fly it upside down. It didn't like to be upside down, by the way. But I think it is a good deal for what it is. I always say that on the channel, it is what it is, but this one did not disappoint me. And this is one of those experiments that I did where I'm like, okay, I want to recommend that they send me this because it's ultra dirt cheap. And I want to see how much fun I can have with something that's dirt cheap. That's just something I'm obsessed with on this channel. I like to see how much fun I can have for the least amount of money. There's some folks out there that don't want to spend $1,000 on an RC airplane and go out and crash it. You don't have another $1,000 to put back down on another plane. When things start to get too expensive for me, it's just not as fun anymore. And that's why I like to keep it cheap. Keep it cheap and fun. And this little guy is quite fun to fly. I can't get over the fun factor here. And since it's a 55-inch wingspan, it's easy to see up in the air. You could put some different color on one side of the wing. Some people even will go as far as to laminate the wing in some type of color. You could also paint the wing. It's not going to add too much extra weight. You could use a little bit of foam safe spray paint. Just be careful you don't use the kind that eats foam, because there is some out there that does that. But let's come in for a long and low landing. This plane really wants to glide forever, and I had to kind of push it down to the runway. It'll take the entire length of this runway to land. And now I'm going to have to go back around again, try another landing. It's just so hard to get the nose down on this plane. So you kind of do need a big open space for this plane. There are no flaps on it, so you could probably cut in some flaps if you really want to. I believe it has extra servo bays for flaps. There it is again. It's kind of bobbing up and down a little bit there. Not my best landing, but I was able to get her down on the runway. Good job. Tons of fun, and I'm impressed for the price. I had a lot of fun with this one on the cheap. And so this one's going to go down in history on my channel as one of the best $100 planes out there for super, super cheap. Let's go back into the studio now and get some final thoughts.
All right, guys, welcome back into my humble studio here at my house. I have the Petrosaur all in one piece. It survived my flight test, and if you know me personally, you know that I love airplanes. It's first I was an airplane guy, then I was a heli guy, and then I'm a drone guy. So drone camps might have to become RC camps one of these days. But for now, let's talk about the Petrosaur. Now, this one comes up on the Banggood website. Let me just double check these prices for you. A 55-inch wingspan bind and fly plane is actually pretty good price at around $100. That's the Chinese version. It has 9 reviews on here since I've been looking at this for the last week. They're all 5-star, which is good news. It also has a USA order option on there. You can click on that, and then once you click on that, it'll take you to the kit only version. So that one comes in at like $67, which is pretty cheap, but I don't believe the kit version has the electronics. So if you have a 2212 motor laying around, a 30 amp ESC, you're good to go. And some 9-gram servos, you can get those super cheap on Banggood as well. But the Chinese version of the kit is going to run around, seems to be more expensive at about $88. I have no idea why the Chinese version would be more expensive than the USA kit, but if you're in the USA, order that version. If you have the electronics already, the PMP version is the one I would get because it includes all the electronics in the box, and you have some rubber bands that come along with it as well that strap over the top like an old school trainer. I have to say that this reminds me of one of the original trainer planes that came out like probably maybe 20 years ago now. I believe it was called the Firebird. It was really cool. It has sort of this sleek aerodynamic looking front end on it. It does have a hatch on the front that allows that 2200 battery to get in there nicely. It has a little tiny rubber band latch that comes up and you put your battery just in there. I used an XT60 converter because it does come with a Dean's connector on the ESC. You can snap that off and you can solder on your own if you want to. XT60, if you have XT60s laying around. The battery that I would probably go with is the 3S 2200. That is going to give you the best flight time, and I think I can literally probably get 12 to 15 minutes out of a 3S 2200. The day that I flew it, there wasn't hardly any wind. This doubles as an RC airplane and a sailplane. It's light enough with this carbon boom and that super lightweight tail back there to be able to handle any type of thermals. I think this thing could actually get some thermals, which would be really cool. So I'm going to say that this one's an easy choice at around $100 on my channel, and this one's going to be absolutely dual thumbs up on this review, guys. You can check out the links down below at my recommended prop for this plane, also the battery, and if you're buying the kit version, I'll put some kit recommendations for different various motors and servos that I would go for. So thanks again for watching my channel, guys. I'm Justin Davis. Take care. Please do subscribe on the channel. Drone Camps signing off. I'll see you on the next one.